Now, to start our mittens, we're going to work the cuff portion. This part right here at the bottom. And we work our ribbing like this from side to side first in rows. So you actually work along this side and then a row back, and then this side. And then when you're ready to work the body of the project, I mean, I do this with hats and sweaters and all kinds of things, but I can remember when I was new, being a little confused by, well, it's only this wide. How can that be the base of a hat? So just keep in mind you're going to make it like this. And then when we're ready for the body, we'll turn it and work alongside the edge of the crocheted piece. And then we end up seaming it up where you can't tell and making it round. Okay, so we're going to work this part first. So let's take our H hook and use the smaller hook here. Just got a simple hook because I have lost my nicer one. I really like these clover hooks, and I have not had my H hook for a long time, and I don't know why I don't buy another one. But when you have so many other hooks, I'm sure you guys can relate. Sometimes you just don't want to buy another one. Okay, so start with your slip knot. And for our ribbing, we're going to chain 13. So we'll start with that chain. Okay, when working single crochet, you always make one more chain than you want stitches, because you're going to use that as like a turning chain. So I always single crochet into the back of mine. So I'm going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook. So not this one first right here. The second one right here, I'm going to go in. And then each chain across. So you should end up with 12. So when you're looking for this little bump on the back, see the front looks like this with the V's. If you've not done this type before and you want, it really doesn't matter exactly how you start. I always start a project like this. I just like that when I'm done, it has a really nice, the V's in the bottom. I think it looks really nice. So anytime I do sweaters or hats, or it doesn't matter what it is, I always start out in the back. Takes a while though to be sure you're on the back of the stitch if you're new. Took me a while to do that, especially when you get larger yarns. Sometimes they get a little loose and you're like, what part am I looking at here? So just make sure it looks like this instead of like this. Okay, we'll keep going into each one of these until we have 12 single crochet, and we've worked all the way down the chain. If you have a problem getting the right number of chains when you start something, especially if it's big, it's always safer to chain more, because you can come back and pick those chains out later when you're done than it is to think, oh man, did I get the right amount? It's always okay to chain a few extra. Remember when I was new, I did that on something and I was like, oh no, I have too many chains. And then I found out, oh, well, no big deal. Let's say I had chained too many on this and I had one extra like this, I would just leave it. And then when I was done, I would come back and take the little slip knot out and you can undo it. So be on the safe side. You could chain extra, especially if you're doing a large project where to chain a whole bunch. But this is only 13 chains, so you have 12 stitches right here. Okay. So when you turn, the way that we make the ribbing is that we work in the back loop only. So you chain one, and then you look, you have your V, and you go, usually you would crochet in this little hole right here, and that would be a regular single crochet. We're going to insert our hook into the center of the stitch and just get the back loop. This is you only do this if you have a certain look in mind. I know a lot of people, when they start crocheting, they tend to do that like in one of the loops because they don't know any better. but the traditional single crochet would go in this part underneath both loops, and we're doing the back loop only. So for each one, I'm going slow so you can see, and split the stitch, yarn over, pull it up, yarn over, pull it through both. Oops. There we go. It's hard to go slow, and it's also hard for me. The way that I do tutorial videos is I look at the screen instead of my hands, so it's a little bit more difficult that way. So you can see here we've got this little front loop is left out here, and that's what's going to end up giving us our ribbed texture. There's just a few ways to make a ribbed look, so do some ribbing and crochet, and this is one of them. This is the easiest one because it's just single crochet, so it's great for beginners. So I chose it for these mittens. So if you've never made a pair of mittens before, don't worry, we're going to walk you through this. It is all single crochet and chains. Okay, coming to the end. Now, if you're new to crochet, I would definitely recommend counting each row. And sometimes I still do, because occasionally on ribbing, I'll miss the last one, and all of a sudden I'll count like 5 or 6 rows later, and then go, oh man, I'm missing one. Where did that go? And I go back and look, and it was kind of squished at the end, and I couldn't see it very well. Maybe like this, and I just did not work into it. So now you do the same thing again. You chain 1, and you're going to repeat this row so that back loop only. All the way across. Right, and you can already see how now this is standing up and then it goes down. See how it's a little textured, so it's going to give you that ribbed look. Okay, so number 11. Like I said, this is how sometimes when I'm not paying attention, I don't work into this one, because you can see how it kind of got, sometimes you have to work your way in there and get it so that make sure that it's even, and you always have 12. Okay, so we got our first little rib going on, and as you keep working, you'll notice that the next row will go down and then up and then down until it gives you this. So we're working it like this. See how this part is coming along now? So just continue working in the back loop only, chain 1, you'll turn every time, back loop only until the ribbing measures 7 inches when slightly stretched.